Hello, everyone. Can you raise your hands if you have ever wondered how Slack and Salesforce use their own products? Well, if no one has wondered that, can anyone tell me how would you integrate the software you use every day to accelerate the sales cycles? Well, we are here to answer these questions, and we are super excited uh, to share with you how we have been using Slack and Salesforce platforms to accelerate sales deals with custom Slack apps. Before we begin, let's talk about forward-looking statement. I believe this came from the PR team. Hopefully, we all can read this in 10 seconds. And yes, I promise. The content coming up next is about accelerating the sales deal cycle.
Whoops. Okay, sorry.
And there it is. Now that we are done with forward-looking statement, we can introduce ourselves finally. Hi all, my name is Vasu Jain. My pronouns are he and him. And I'm a software engineering lead MTS at Salesforce. For the last 4 years, I've been fortunate to work with this team called Slack on Slack Engineering, where we build impactful bots for businesses in the organization.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tyler Lofgren, pronouns he, him. I'm also on the Slack on Slack engineering team. I'm a software engineering lead as well. I joined the team last year, and I'm based in Austin, Texas. I would describe myself as a data nerd, and I've been developing custom apps in IT for over 6 years.
I am Liz Osick, pronouns she, her. I've had the privilege of leading this awesome team of Slack on Slack engineers for the past few years. And I'm really excited to talk to you all today to show you some of the things we've done in the sales space for our team, with our team.
Slack's mission has not changed since its early days. Make people's working lives simpler, more pleasant, and more productive. The way we do this is by presenting our users a fast and extensible way of working with all their tools right within Slack. Built upon this Slack mission, with Slack, you can connect all your software applications so you can minimize the time you spend between them, allowing you to correlate data faster and make better decisions as you work with them. As you can see, Slack is the engagement layer between human events and the system events. So today we are going to talk about our journey and some of the key components for building these apps. Slack on Slack. You may be wondering what is that? Well, Slack mission was also our anchor in founding Slack on Slack engineering team, where we set out to create exceptional technology experiences with Slack at the core. We would be also showcasing some of the custom apps we built for different business units in the organization, especially sales organization, that help the sales team close deals faster. Lastly, we'll be sharing some insights on how to build these Slack apps along with the latest Slack developer platform offerings. Handing it to Tyler.
Thanks, Vasu. So what is Slack on Slack? Like Vasu was saying, our mission within business technology is to create exceptional experiences for our employees with Slack at the core, because Slack is our digital HQ. We at Slack should have our best experience of Slack that we can. So to do this, our team builds apps and workflows to solve real business challenges using the Slack platform. To do this, we actually crowdsource ideas from our employee base, and we measure those ideas based on audience size, time saved, and ideas that have timely insights. We're looking for the most impactful ideas, and we actually, through this method, we have a bottoms-up dynamic approach, which helps us achieve our mission of making our employees' lives simpler, more pleasant, and more productive. So Over the years, we've built a number of apps, and what we're going to focus on is the apps we've built for the sales organization. Each of these apps accelerate the deal cycle and standardize processes. They automate time-consuming administrative work, and they help our account executives and sales operations teams focus on what they do best, which is helping our customers get the most out of Slack. And we're very glad to report that we have 100% adoption from the sales team, and we have our account executives using Midas every single day.
Today, we want to highlight, just as Tyler said, a few of the sales-related applications we built for the Slack on Slack initiative, focusing on the problems we were trying to solve, demoing our solutions to you, and kind of highlighting the impact it's had across the sales organization. The first one that we want to talk about is our approvals bot deals. Sales approvals are really complicated. There's a lot of tiers, and things can happen in inconsistent ways from team to team or even opportunity to opportunity. For example, let's take Sarah. She's one of our AEs. She's ready to submit her quote for deal approvals, and she sees that Bob, her manager, is her level 1 approver. She tries to email him. He's not available. She finds out he's in a meeting. It takes the rest of the day before she gets his approval. Then she has to go on to the next person, who is her level 2 approval, and that can take another day. After going through all of those sales approvals, then she might have to go to the legal team. She messages John, who usually does her approvals, but finds out he's on PTO. So then she has to spend time tracking down who should do the deal in his, or the approval in his place. So as you can see, this kind of manual process can have all kinds of problems with timing, taking too much time, not knowing who to bring into the conversation and when, that kind of thing. So that's what we were trying to solve with our approvals bot deal solution. We wanted to standardize and automate this process and bring it all into a Slack channel so that we can bring the right people in at the right time and provide all the information people need to make their approvals right in that channel. So let me show you how that looks. So Sarah's ready to go approve her quote. So she submits it in her Salesforce CRM. As soon as she does that, our approvals bot deals gets a trigger and creates this DSR channel for the approval to go through. As you can see, approvals bot deals submits all of this information, for including all of the data people need to know if this is going to be approved or not, and goes ahead and submits some approvals call to actions right in the thread under all of the approval or deal information. So you can see Bob here gets 2 buttons, one for approve and one for reject. There's also a recall button if that needs to happen. So Bob just approved, which triggers the next step in the process for Sandy, who's the level 2 approver. And you can see the bot also goes back to the original message and updates the status, the visual status bar. So anyone coming to this channel can see what the approval status is at any time. So this is what it looks like at the end of the process. You can see all the different people have approved. It's ready to go, and the AE can go ahead and generate the contract for the customer.
Amazing. So let's look at what this has done for us. Approvals bot has had a huge impact since we've launched it in 2019. We've seen amazing adoption. 100% of deal approvals have been routed through approvals bot, and over 90% of deals are getting approved right from Slack, which was our goal to begin with. We've also seen huge time savings. So instead of Sarah having to spend all day, like Liz was saying, we're now seeing the full cycle of the deal approval happen in less than a day. And this frees up AEs like Sarah hundreds of hours each quarter. There's also there's a lot more value in standardizing it like this, because there's real-time information flow and everyone can see the state of the approval at each step of the cycle. And also, we get to create more accurate pipeline forecasts because Salesforce is the source of truth to initiate all those deal structures. And like we said before, all the magic is happening in Slack, our digital HQ. So let's talk about the next app that our team built, which is Midas Slides. Now that we had our sales team saving time with the approval process, we worked with them to identify the next area that was costing them a lot of time. For our account executives, every time they talk to the customer, they need to bring data into the conversation. They need to find a way to extract meaningful insights from the numbers and present them to the customer so that the customer understands how they're using Slack and how it can take it to the next level. This is especially important during contract renewal. So in the past, our account executives, such as Sarah, were sifting through spreadsheets, messages, dashboards. They're trying to find those numbers. They're trying to create charts and graphs and visualizations from scratch. It was taking hours and hours. And of course, they had to do this for each of their accounts. So this was happening over and over again. So Slack and Slack partnered with them to create a custom app called Midas Slides, which would turn their numbers into gold. So with this solution, what we wanted to do is provide a way to automatically create data-driven presentations, allow our AEs to customize the data filters that are going into those presentations. And of course, because Slack is our digital HQ, we wanted to request and deliver slides directly in Slack. So let's see it in action. So Sarah goes to Midas Touch. She runs it and then picks the template that she wants for the current situation. Then she picks the account and she gets to choose a few different configuration details and then sends it off. Midas goes off, pulls down all the data, compiles those slides, and then sends her a DM. Once she opens that presentation, this is where you get to see the magic, because all of these wonderful visualizations have been created for her within seconds. Next to these visualizations, we have easy to understand narratives, and we also have templated talk tracks to help guide her to interpret and frame the data and tailor that conversation for her customer. This is so important because data is at the heart of everything that we do. So she can also drill down into the source of the data and customize it, sharpen the story, and further explore to try and find more insights. This is a great result that shows the value our customers are really getting from Slack.
Midas Slides had a huge impact across all of the Slack. Since launch, 100% of account executives, business development representatives, customer success managers use Midas to prepare for customer meetings. We have delivered 250 plus DAX on a daily basis for Midas Slides, and this number keeps on increasing. Also, there has been 5,000 plus hours of manual work saved each month to free up sales representatives' times. Lastly, 80% of invoice ACV each quarter include Midas DAX now. And for getting all these amazing results, you don't even have to move out of Slack. Entire flow happens right within Slack. Overall, it feels really nice to have built a product that has such a massive impact across the sales org and help the teams to become more productive. Next up is Midas Signals. Midas Signals is a custom app that delivers real-time account activity insights directly into Slack channels. You may be wondering why Midas Signals. As Slack was growing, the sales team used several strategies to scale and align better for their sales operations. However, they faced a few challenges while scaling the operations. For example, it was difficult to know when is the right time to take an action on an account. It was also easy to miss important signals on less active accounts. Data for an account was scattered across a lot of different places. And to finding a key contact information, it could take a long time. To help sales team solve these problems, we built Midas Signals, which delivers near real-time account activity insights directly into Slack channels. Midas Bot helps by allowing sales team to subscribe to signals for an account or a book of business. Subscriptions are set in channels rather than DMs, which allows the entire team to collaborate together. Key activities and metrics are delivered to channels, providing insights that otherwise may have been missed. And let's see Midas signals in action. Account executive goes to account channel, type the command, and opens the pop-up. Here, the account executive can configure the signal, for example, signal source, signal type. And once he submit, the Slack channel has been subscribed to that particular account. Now, whenever an account activity happens, all these account activities are pushed into channel in real time. And as you can see, all sales team members can collaborate on that particular account deal, and everything stays within Slack. To share the impact, I would like to invite Lisa.
Yeah, so as you saw in the demo, by delivering the activities directly into a Slack channel, it encourages our AEs to take kind of quick, immediate action on that important thing that happened on their account, and to bring in the rest of their sales team to collaborate and strategize. Because of this change in process, we've been able to change the way our AEs prospect, which in turn has helped drive many new deals and has positively influenced pipeline ACV. And as you can imagine, this saves thousands of hours of work that previously our AEs would have spent trying to find out when these activities were happening, look up all of the contact information for these the people doing these activities, and also just gives them some insight into which are the accounts that they should be taking action on, because these are the ones where things are happening. So shortly after we built Midas Signals, Salesforce announced that they would be acquiring Slack. As part of, as we were talking about bringing these two companies together, we realized that one of the important processes that we needed to address was the fact that our two companies were working in two separate CRMs, and that we would need a way to coordinate accounts and activities between the two different sales teams. This process is referred to internally as lead passing. So in the past acquisitions, Salesforce had done this lead passing process as kind of a background job. The data would go daily from one CRM to the other, but this resulted in this being kind of an opaque process. It wasn't very transparent, the leads, and because of that, leads wouldn't necessarily become an opportunity. There was also a disconnect between AEs on both sides because this background process didn't really have that human component, and it wasn't real time, so the lead to delivery took longer. So what we wanted to do is what we had done for our other sales related problems. We wanted to bring it into Slack to help automate and make the solution more pleasant. So we also wanted to make sure that the leads that are getting passed were being well qualified and were going to be really worth the time of both of the sales teams to take action on. So let me show you a bit how that works. So in this case, the Salesforce AE identifies an opportunity that they want to pass over to the Slack AE. So they click the Qualify Slack Lead button, which triggers a message from Lead Pass Bot in Slack. Here, the Salesforce AE is given the opportunity to talk about why they want to pass this lead over to the Slack AE, talking about what are the use cases, what is the event that we're reacting to with this lead pass, and several other qualifying questions. these are designed to make sure that this is going to be a great point of collaboration that's going to lead to a great deal in the future. As you can see here, before the Salesforce AE submits, they're given the option to validate all their questions, all of their answers, and then they send it over to Slack. So what you saw here is this process triggered the lead to go from Salesforce's CRM over to Slack's. And then our Midas bot got a notification that this happened and created a new channel, posted a new signal in that channel, and invited the Slack AE and LeadPass bot. And then LeadPass bot hears this and invites the Salesforce AE. These two bots introduce the Slack and Salesforce AEs, and they're ready to start a conversation with all of the information they need right there in the channel. So as you can see, this process is a lot more interactive in real time than that background daily import. And because of this, we're also able to provide everything they need in the channel with calls to actions. There's an introduction of the two AEs, which wasn't happening before. The other advantage of using our signals implementation was our sales team was already familiar with this process. So it meant we had to do minimal enablement to get the sales team up to speed on this LeadPass process. The other exciting thing is we were able to use Slack Connect, which allowed us to develop these solutions in our two different CRMs and two different Slack instances. And because of that, we were able to bring this together very close after close. So 2 weeks after deal close, we were able to launch this LeadPass program. Within a day of launch, the first lead was passed, and within a week, we won our first joint deal.
Awesome. So how did we do all of this? We've seen a number of these custom Slack apps. What are the technologies that made this possible? The answer, of course, is the Slack platform. So let me talk about BlockKit first. BlockKit is a key feature of the Slack platform. It's a UI framework where blocks are visual components that can be easily stacked and arranged. And what's amazing about this is it gives our apps a native feel for all of our users. So it's very familiar to them. And it's consistent across all devices. It provides a first-class mobile experience. As we're developing an app, this is very powerful because it allows us to focus on the content of the messages and the interactions with the messages. So when we are collaborating with sales operations, for example, they can work on the details of the copy and the emojis, for example, and we can work on what the buttons do. So what you can see here, calling back to what we saw with approval spot deals, is, as you already saw, it was advancing the deal through the cycle, and this message was built, of course, with BlockKit. So you can see that it provides dense information, even on mobile, and it really grabs your attention. There's buttons to interact with it, and it's all integrated into the Slack collaborative experience. So they can discuss it in channel, they can react to it, they can do threads. All of this is very helpful for building up an app quickly. Next, I also want to talk about the Slack APIs. This really is the core of the Slack platform. So remember when I said I was a data nerd? This is where I get to actually play around as a developer. I get to play around with the Slack platform. Each of these APIs is basically like a lever on the machine that is Slack that we get to use with our apps. So with the web API, we can work with a number of functionalities such as messaging channels, users, and files. With the events API, our apps are able to subscribe to events and activities that are happening in Slack. And each of those events, once they're triggered, provides context on what is actually going on. And then the Slack Connect APIs are a very powerful set of APIs that enable our apps to collaborate between apps and users from different organizations very securely. And I'm going to show you an example of what that looks like, which was in reference to what Liz was showing earlier with LeadPass. The Slack Connect APIs are very powerful because they are enabling multiple apps to interact with each other. So Midas is installed on the Slack workspace, and then LeadPass bot is installed on the Salesforce workspace. Through these APIs, Midas is able to invite LeadPass over to the channel with Slack Connect APIs, and then once the request is received, LeadPass can verify the sender and then accept the invitation. So this is important because it speeds up the process of setting up those connected channels, pulling in the right users and apps, and we get to skip that administrative work. And of course, that enables our sales team to collaborate and get to the next step in the deal cycle that much faster.
So thanks, Tyler. Another important tool in our toolkit is the Slack's Bolt family of SDKs. This framework allows us to build Slack apps really quickly by handling a lot of the heavy lifting. Things like authentication, rate limit retries, listening to events are all handled by the platform. So we don't have to worry about setting up the various HTTP requests ourselves, or it provides a nice interface for interacting with the Slack API. It's in many different languages. It's in Java, JavaScript, and Python, so you can choose your favorite flavor. And we can create these interfaces using BlockKit, just the way Tyler was talking about. It provides a really great interface to that. So we used that in a couple, you saw us, So we used Bolt in a lot of our apps, including Midas and LeadPass. With Midas, as you saw in the demo, we had some really rich user experiences with pulling up modals. We had a dynamic app home. People were able to react to signals, take action on those, and that was all handled with Bolt's interactions with Slack. A cool thing we did for Midas signals was we are able to track when people react to a message and to measure engagement from the sales team on these notifications that we're sending in channel. With LeadPass, we stretched Bolt's capabilities even farther because we wanted to use brand new Slack APIs, which were only in beta at the time. So Bolt provides a really great interface for pretty much interacting with any Slack API, which let us use the latest and greatest from the platform and listen to those channel invite events, create those Slack Connect activities, all with Bolt. And you also saw we did that very rich multi-page form in LeadPass for qualifying the leads. And that, again, was all done with Bolt.
As you saw, Slack Developer Platform has rich offerings that help us accomplish these amazing goals and build these delightful experiences for our customers. We are also excited to share the next generation of the Slack platform, as well as some of the learnings we had while building these bots. I'll first start with what we learned so far. Slack is the digital HQ. You can create streamlined workflows in Slack to increase productivity. This also helps reach employees where they are and decreases context switching and distractions. User experience is extremely important. By keeping things simple, you can ensure that users are more engaged and they are able to interact with the systems much easily. Slack apps can help simplify complex processes for users by providing them easy interface and helping them focus on what is important. Lastly, picking the right tool for the job. So instead of focusing on a technology to solve a problem, first try to find a solution and then try to find a technology to solve that problem. We work very closely with our platform teams to help shape their APIs or tools which can help us solve a problem. For example, when we build Lead Passport, we work pretty closely with Dan Beta Slack Connect API team to help shape their APIs. Now let's talk about next generation of Slack platform. Slack Developer Platform has been reimagined with a new modular architecture that brings developers greater flexibility and creates a foundation for reusability. One of the new platform features we announced is Slack Canvas. Canvas is a new surface in Slack where teams can capture any type of information, find answers, and move work forward all at a single place. With a canvas, you can curate information the way you want. You can supplement real-time collaboration in channels with a permanent place to organize information and your content. You can gain real-time insights from your apps in a single view. Anyone can integrate dashboards from different systems like Salesforce and other apps, which can be easily brought into canvases and provide you rich data, which can help you take decisions. And you can accomplish all this without even writing a single line of code. Accessible workflows. You can have critical context within canvases using workflows. For example, you can add an approval flow or any rich data there. Slack Canvas delivers on the value of Slack plus Customer 360 by unlocking new ways to take business actions. We are also excited to incorporate the next generation of Slack platform into our future apps and integrations. With the new Slack platform, we are introducing Slack infrastructure. Within this, we have Slack functions, which are the base unit for any reusable logic you can create as a Slack developer. For any reusable task like fetching user information, getting channels information, or creating channels, you don't have to copy stuff over to different apps. You can now reuse these functions you created for a single app. With the new platform, we also created end-to-end development and deployment experience streamlined by offering ways for developers to deploy on Slack infrastructure directly. So as a developer, you don't have to worry about building, running, or deploying your app and setting up infrastructure for that. Lastly, message metadata, another building block for this new platform. It provides a way for apps to provide additional data about system events and send it to Slack along with the messages. I hope you are as excited as me to try on these new developer tools. To play around with these developer platform offerings, you can start with Slack Developer Open Beta. You can scan this QR code on the screen to get started, or you can type this URL api.slack.com/future. On this link, you will see documentation, tutorials, built-in samples, etc. for our new generation developer platform.